Hey, this is an absolute perfect reality check for Labor Day weekend. Hey, Jay. Remember Labor Day weekends as a kid?
Sometimes.
Well, did you have a tradition? Did you do something all the time over and over again?
I went to Brigantine with my family.
At the shore?
Yeah, went to
Where is
shore.
that? The Brigantine? Where's the Brigantine?
That's Jersey Shore.
Is that Seagirt?
It's close.
It is, right?
Yeah.
I went to the Brigantine. Do you know my first marriage was in Seagirt?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I got married. I know the Brigantine. Man, that Brigantine place is still around.
Well, I went to Brigantine Island.
Oh, Brigantine Island.
Yeah,
There was a
yeah.
place called the Brigantine.
Oh, well.
And then there was another Brigantine. Okay, so you went to Brigantine Island, right?
Uh-huh.
So was there a family tradition?
Absolutely. Every summer we would do this
Okay.
with
Do you,
my uncle and aunts and uncles and cousins and
clam bakes?
nothing
No,
like that.
not clam bakes?
No clam bakes.
Okay. Do you remember things your dad did with you on the beach?
Yeah, he tossed me in the water and stuff like that.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Any conversations that were fucking life-changing or altering?
I can't remember a single one.
Okay. Anything your mom did special during those times? Because that was right before school, because at the East Coast, we went back to
yeah.
school after Labor Day.
Yeah.
We were normal.
Yeah,
Right? Anything that your mom did that was ultra special, or is it just you just remember to go to Brigantine Island?
Well, she would make a dinner, special dinner once that week.
Okay, so here that week, because it's the week before,
Yeah,
right? That's
yeah.
an East Coast thing.
Yeah.
So did you go to summer camp?
Yep, as a Boy
Where'd you
Scout.
go?
Where did I go? I can't remember. It was in New Jersey. I can't remember the name of the place.
So here's the irony of childhood, right? For all you parents out there that are obsessing about every moment with your children, they're not going to fucking remember you, okay? It's not that they're not going to remember you, and we were talking about this because my Labor Days were really good. We'd go to Grandma Frankie's house. Grandma Frankie was this raging alcoholic, man. Like, she'd be uptight all day long until she had her scotch, and the scotch would be in a highball, okay? It would be 16 ounces of scotch she would start sucking down. And I never knew what the hell she was doing in the kitchen for so long. Hey, Grandma, I'm fucking starving. I'm a kid. Why does it take 2 hours to make dinner? Because she was getting loaded. And she was noshing on food the whole time. My grandmother had this really big belly, and she used to belch really loud. We used to call her Grandma Frankie. She used to burp really, really loud that the whole room would shake. And she had a hiatal hernia, so she was allowed to burp in public restaurants. So the week before Labor Day, we would go to Hampton Bays and spend the week there. And that was like the family tradition. I don't remember a fucking conversation at all with my mom or my dad. I do remember, and I talked about this in a podcast a long, long time ago, that was the Grandpa Mickey Ball episode. It was one of the first podcasts I did. And my grandfather, my grandmother made me take Grandpa Mickey out in the little rubber boat, and he had this old man bathing suit on, pulled up to his waist, and his ball kind of came out. No shit. The ball came out and was hanging out, and I was doing anything in the boat to try to make the ball move, except saying to him, like, hey, Grandpa, your ball is hanging out. And, I remember I said, Grandpa, you want to go back to the shore? And he says, no problem, David, right? So I'm rowing back to the shore really hard, really fast, and then he gets out, and I figured the ball would settle again, but it didn't. And my grandfather ended up walking all the way up to the house and into the kitchen, and my grandmother dropped her drink and freaked out. My mother came out laughing. And I go really into the story on one of the earlier podcasts about how I kept walking behind him, and I kept seeing the ball kind of like between his leg. And it was the biggest ball I've ever seen in my entire life. Old men balls, I don't know what it is, but balls tend to expand. So I don't really remember anything. I remember the ball. I remember my grandma drinking. I remember my grandma smoking. I remember walking around and with my sister and brother, and we had a chant. It was ho ho potion, we want the ocean. Ho ho nay, we don't want the bay. Because my grandmother had to make sandwiches because everything was a fucking food production, right?
Yep.
So we never went to the ocean. We hung out at the bay till 2 p.m. And then when we got to the ocean, my grandmother was really always pissed off if the blue flag or the red flag was going. It meant that we couldn't go in the water. Well, I'm going to go in the water. I don't care how rough it is. And then it was jellyfish season. I mean, these are like random thoughts, but that's what it is. It's random memories. So the question you were just giving me on the way back from dinner, which I thought was really fascinating, was...
Do you think we have memories that we're associating with emotions? Or is it just a matter of repetition?
It's all repetition. I mean, we're not going to remember who took us to art camp. We're not going to remember, I'm kind of thinking now being a dad, I'm kind of thinking, like it's the things you do over and over again that seem to have the most amount of impact. And it's interesting when I talk to my daughter and we talk about things and she'll say, we always do that, Dad. And it's always the repetition of what we always do. We always get smoothies at a certain place, And I'm seeing that now as her memory is forming. It's the repetition. And I think that's the irony of childhood. All these parents that split up and they don't want to miss any time with their kids, right? I don't want to miss a moment. Well, let me tell you something. Your kids, we're all missing moments because as an adult, our fucking memory is like a full-blown missing moment nightmare. 5th grade, we were talking about that over dinner. Yeah. Miss Bogart, I wanted Miss Bogart. In Quaker Ridge School, you got your teacher assigned to you sometime in August. So my parents would call me at summer camp and tell me exactly what teacher I had, and I was wishing for Miss Bogart. I don't remember a goddamn thing I learned in 5th grade. I don't remember anything at all. I remember I am never wrong, the character I am never wrong, right? And she taught us being humility and being humble and apologizing. I remember Mr. Genius when, she wanted you to know that you were fucking smart and did well on a test. You would draw Mr. Genius. And I remember the funny story that we told over dinner was the rock to the temple. Apparently, if you throw rocks in the schoolyard, you're going to hit a kid in the temple. And if you hit a kid in the temple, the kid's going to die. So whenever I get a massage, someone touches me in the temple, and I think this, crazy massage therapist wants to kill me. Miss Bogart was right. And that's it. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. We have very few memories, except the memories that are based on repetition. So if you're a parent, the irony of being a parent is you are pushing your kid into so many different things, when in reality, a kid is seeking structure and repetition nonstop so they remember things. Like, tell me something right now. Childhood memory about your dad. A feeling you had about your dad. What was it?
Well, he was always there. He was always putting food on the table.
Right.
But I don't remember any particular day that he did it.
Right. But he was always there. Yeah. Because he was there. Yeah. He wasn't there emotionally for you. He wasn't there having unbelievable conversations. Look, if I think of my mother was a crazy fucking psychotic. My mother was the original one hot mess. But I remember being able to confide in my mother all the time. Like, I always knew my mother loved me. No matter how crazy she was, I knew that I could talk to her, right? We had great conversations. She would protect me against my father. She would teach me what a man was because she didn't respect my father as a man, right? So my mother gave me that. So I remember deep conversations with my mother, emotional conversations with my mother. My father, I remember him playing baseball and standing there in the backyard with a drink in his hand, throwing the ball to us. I remember him playing basketball with one hand and having a drink in his hand. He always had to have the drink when he came home. I don't remember a fucking conversation with him if my life depends on it. I can't remember a single conversation. I can remember one time we went to a Knick game when I was in the 3rd grade, and I went to a psychiatrist because I wished that he was dead. Okay, true story. And the psychiatrist brought my father in and said to my father, listen, Dusty, his name was, he goes, you got to take your son and spend some good quality father-son time. My father goes, okay. And this was after like 1 or 2 sessions, right, which is ironic because my daughter's in therapy and she's gone for like, 50, not that many sessions and nothing has changed, right, which is really funny because the therapist that I had was about having an action plan, having a plan, right? And the plan was to reunite my father and I and do things together. And I remember going to a Knick game and I remember sitting across from him thinking to myself, God, I wish he was dead. Because he wasn't engaging with me. We weren't really talking. We were small talking. And I can't do small talk, as you can see. I hate small talk, right? And I remember sitting there across the street from Madison Square Garden in this restaurant. We were getting a lobster dinner. That was my big treat. I remember getting lobster. Lobster was only for my birthday. My father was spoiling me. We had clams on the half shell and lobster, and I was wishing he was dead. So I looked at him and I said, Dad, I got to go to the bathroom. He goes, okay. He goes, ask the waiter where the bathroom is. Oh, fuck, Dad. I'm like 8. You ask him. So he calls the waiter over, and I say, where's the bathroom? The guy goes, downstairs. And I'm freaking out because I hate basements. right? And if you think about it, you don't really send an 8-year-old in a New York City restaurant by yourself. But then again, this was 1970, so things were a little different back then. But there were still things called pedophiles and strange fucking people. So I went down to the basement, and I remember there was a guy peeing next to me. I couldn't even pee because I was so nervous, right? Oh my God, a strange man peeing next to me. And he looked at me a few times. I'm thinking like, oh my God, the guy's going to kill me. I'm in the basement because I have basement phobias to begin with anyway. That's my memory. My memory is that even though Henry Mackover, the therapist, told my dad to go do things with me, I still have a distinct memory that my father didn't want to fucking do things with me, right? It's all repetition. Everything is repetition. It's not, parenting is not about the good things that you do or the one trip to Disneyland. It's the traditions that you do, because that's what I think a lot of people remember, and that's the irony of childhood. Ask anybody about their childhood, and all of you right now, this is Labor Day weekend, you're going through barbecues and stuff like that, you might see your parents. You know what? Try to remember some shit. Write down maybe 10 of your best memories from childhood, if you can really write down 10 of your best memories. It's all repetition. The things you write down, you'll find out that it was all things that you did. It was tradition. It was the traditions you have with your kids. So for those of you that are divorced and you can't split your children up and you're afraid to let go of your kids and you're not willing to share, it doesn't matter how much time you spend with your kids, it's all about tradition. You can be hovering over your kids like a helicopter smother mother or a helicopter father, and the thing is, they're not going to remember shit. They're not going to remember. What they're going to remember is that they didn't see their father or mother enough. They're going to remember the traditions or the things they were deprived of. What were you deprived of as a kid?
I didn't really throw the ball around with my dad.
Yeah. You see how you remember that? I remember my dad really, even though he participated and played with us, I never felt like he was fully present. I never felt like he really wanted to play with us. I mean, it's energy. It's all energy that we're displaying. We're just energetic beings, and it's just energy that we're displaying. We're doing energy with our children. We're doing energy with each other. So we only remember things that love, and it's almost like Pavlov, and I've talked a lot about Pavlov on the podcast lately, is that all this stuff is just repetition. We remember the things. How do we fall in love with somebody? Because they tell us they love us. Yep, they tell us over and over again that they love us, so they must love it, right? And we hear it over and over again, so it must be true. And that's what childhood seems to be like. All the memories of childhood seem to be the things that we had repetition over. So that's the irony of childhood. Kids stress out about what teacher they're going to have. And it's almost like, like my daughter is so happy she has her teacher, and almost sometimes I want to look at her and go, you're not going to remember anyway. You're not going to remember you're in Miss Fagachi's class. You're not going to remember anything at all. And that's what's just so irony, and that's what's probably so beautiful about childhood, is that you're so fucking present to whatever the moment is, that you're not forming memories because you're not thinking about the what-ifs yet in life. You're not thinking about what if. Like today, walking around, talking to all these people, there were no what-ifs. It was just communicating and having a good time and enjoying ourselves, right? There was no what-ifs at all. So think about if you actually conducted your life like a child, and that's today's Labor Day weekend reality. If you went and conducted your life like a child, there'd be no what-ifs anymore. None of them. Zero. So what? You're just showing up like a kid. Here's my fucking ball. Let's play. Here am I. I'm here to talk to you. Let's talk. Here I am. I'm here to fuck you right now. Let's have great sex. Here I am just showing up. But as adults, we're taught to worry about the future. And then we have stories about the past. The irony and the beauty of childhood is there is no future and there is no fucking past. We don't know about a future and a past until our fucking parents make us think about that. We're in 5th grade and our parents remind us of how we fucked up in 4th grade. Well, gee, mom, gee, dad, fuck you, you little kid. Little kid should look at his parents and go, fuck you, mom, fuck you, dad. I forgot about 4th grade. I went to a thing called summer camp and I erased 4th grade from my memory. Our parents put this stuff in. Like all of a sudden, if you think about people who have social phobias, the reason why they have social phobias is due to the fact that in 4th grade, Kim Wilson didn't like you. So all of a sudden, who reminded you that Kim Wilson didn't like you? Your mom or your dad or your friends? Oh, no, Jay. You can't talk to Kim Wilson. She rejected you last year in 4th grade. Well, that was fucking 4th grade. She doesn't remember, neither do I. But we're reminded because we start getting the adult shit into our brains and we start reminding and mind-fucking one another. And the irony and the beauty of childhood, The magic of childhood is that none of that should happen. It's all about being present. So as an adult, learn how to be present. I am really present. I just walk around like I'm a kid all day long, like, oh, look at this conversation. Oh, wow, that was fun, right? Oh, look at this conversation. That was fun. I don't even want anything from anybody. I just want to go have great conversations, learn things. That's why all day long you were just like, oh my God, did you pay that person to talk to us about that, right?
Yeah.
It's all the conversations were like, almost like I scripted them. They just kind of fucking happen. Whatever we were talking about alone, some stranger would come into our life, walking a dog, and then all of a sudden, we'd have the conversation also. That's because I'm a big child, and I'm in summer camp. And life to me is still summer camp every single day. That's all it is. So think about that. If life is still summer camp, and tomorrow doesn't matter, aren't you going to go play ball and have fun today? There's the reality. 10-minute daily reality check coming at you every single day. It's the only reminder you need to know. There's no future, there's no past, but 10-minute daily reality check always has a future. But we don't know what we're going to talk about because reality changes every single day. And that's what being present is all about.